Welcome back to Daddy's Podcast. Got one of the hoopers in here with me. Talk about he feel like he on Power 92. Here we go, starting already. Why don't you let the world know who you are, brother? Introduce you.
Well, first off, I'm finna say this is very professional. This is very top tier. If you not knowing what's going on behind the scenes, this is a huge platform right now. But I'm Paul White, a friend of Greg's.
Yes, sir.
A friend of the family. Damn near family.
Yes, sir.
I'm somebody, I would say, and probably the city of Chicago would say somebody important to the history of Chicago basketball.
Man, you got down, bro. I was there. I'm a witness.
Yeah, to the history of Chicago basketball.
Chicago Select.
Come on now.
Yeah, I was there. I was there.
You know what I'm saying? That's history for y'all.
Coach Mac, what's up?
That's history for y'all that don't know about that. But I went to Winneon, played there with Jaleel Okafor. I got a couple city championships, a state championship in 2014. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I went from there. I went to Georgetown University to hoop, and then I transferred to Oregon, or University of Oregon, the Ducks. Currently, I'm a pro basketball player now. So
my man. Yeah, I was watching on Georgetown. I was in my room. I was watching. Yeah. I said, I know him right there. that's my son teammate.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. That's how it worked. That's how it worked.
We was traveling all over the place, man.
We was all over the place.
Select to Ferrari.
People don't know
that down, man.
So Chicago Select. That's when I first met Greg.
Talk to me.
And that's when I first met too. That's when I first met Keith.
Who? Lil Keith?
Lil Keith.
Yes, sir. Of
course.
Keith.
Yo, punchy ass, boy. You know who you is. You know who you
man,
are.
I reached out to Keith, man. I forget Keith on the show, too.
Yeah. But, so, I remember those times. It's funny because I didn't know anything about AAU. I didn't know anything about AAU. I was playing at St. Calabanis in 6th grade for my team, my school team, Murray. And a referee
Is Murray across the street from Kenwood? Talk to me. What? Wait.
Big Greg. Okay. Why am I forgetting this?
Okay.
I knew Greg before Chicago Select. Because of Carnegie.
Yes, sir. Talk to me. Because I remember y'all playing in it's a Final Four championship game or something. Y'all was going head to head. Do you remember this game, bro?
So, it's 2 times. From what I remember. So, it was one time, I'm going to take it back. It was in 5th grade.
5th grade. He started playing it for y'all. So, y'all the same age.
Yeah. So, we was both class of 2014. So, Greg was at Carnegie. I was in Murray. And so, I think it was a playoff game or he was in our conference or something like that. But I remember we had a guard that was 1 year older than me on our team. And he was nice. He was a lot. Greg was in 5th grade. I didn't know at the time he was in 5th grade. Killing.
Okay.
Serving.
Okay.
Number 23.
Number 23, yes, sir.
And you know if you were number 23 at that time, you had to be special.
Michael Jordan.
You know what I'm saying?
Michael Jordan left a legacy around here.
You had to be special. So I played Greg in 5th grade.
Okay.
When I was at Murray, and then I played him another time when I was at Kenwood. So I transferred to Kenwood. For 7th and 8th grade, we played in 7th grade.
Okay,
but then
I'm trying to remember that Murray game, man. Because I remember a game it was tied at the end of the game, with seconds left.
I think that's the game,
man. It was seconds left, and Greg was guarding his guard. I don't know if it's the guard that you talking about.
And we gamed y'all, right?
Y'all gamed y'all. Yo, dude, I don't know how he slipped down court. I remember that. Damn.
That's crazy.
Because came back to me. I remember that.
Because now I'm remembering how he slipped out in the game.
He slipped out and gamed us at 5 seconds left in the game, bro.
I swear. I remember that. And so, I knew about Greg at that time. So then fast forward to 6th grade.
All right.
I'm playing a game at St. Calabanis with Murray. A referee looks at me and is like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Do you play anywhere? Do you play AAU anywhere? I'm like, no. You know what I'm saying? At that time, I was just...
So this 6th grade?
This was 6th grade. Right. So at that time, I didn't come up to play a small fry like other kids in the city and nothing like that. I played Park District ball and I played up. I played with older kids in random neighborhood leagues and all that shit. So I played against high schoolers when I was 4th, 5th grade.
Okay.
So I was always kind of nice. I was always nice and tall.
Okay.
I knew how to dribble, the referee looked at me and was like, "Do you know what school Derrick Rose went to?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." You know what I'm saying? I said it respectfully. I'm like, right. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. Uh-huh. He's like, yeah, Simeon, they might be interested. I'm like, oh.
Excited. You get Simeon name. You like, oh, Simeon won't be.
I'm like, oh. You know, and so he also introduced me. He's like, and so it's an AAU team that I want you to check out too, Chicago Select. I'm going to tell them about you. So we end up going to one of the first practices at the Salvation Army.
Yep, sure did. Damn, Paul, I forgot about that.
Come on, man.
Yes, sir. We did.
These lyrics coming out. These lyrics coming out. And so we go through the practice. I found out who Greg is, and if you remember on that team, the guards, it was Greg, it was Keith, and then it was Eddie. You remember Eddie?
I remember Eddie. Yes, sir. I remember Eddie. Yes, sir.
And so Greg and Eddie used to be competing.
They used to go at it. Yes, sir. Because Eddie was on the team before Greg was on the team. And Greg got on and him and Eddie was going at it. I remember.
Yeah, and so I walked.
You ever talk to Eddie? What's up with Eddie?
I don't know what happened with him. Last time I seen him, he was playing for Morgan Park. I don't know if he went Division I. Okay. I don't know what he did.
Eddie was nice though.
He was cold.
Yeah.
Nice little lefty.
Yeah. I was about to ask you, was he left-handed?
Yeah, for sure. And he was in that little High Park circle too, cause like he went to a school
right on the corner.
Bret Hart.
Yep, sure did.
So I knew Greg and Eddie because they was the light skinned killers. Like we was all like the little light skinned killers in like that little area.
Yes, sir.
But so I see Greg on the team with Chicago Select, you know, so we kind of hit it off, me, him. The whole team, we kind of really hit it off. You know what I'm saying? But I walked into the dynamic of Greg and Eddie.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask you, because I was wondering, like, was that the reason? Not the reason, but like, did Greg was like, I want to go to the Explorers because I just want to be free? You can remember that far?
That's a great question. This is something I remember. So we was on Select, and it was game time. And Greg is used to getting the ball at game time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it was a few seconds left in this game. And when y'all went into the timeout, the ball wasn't supposed to go to Greg. The ball ended up accidentally in motherfucking Greg's hand. Mm. And he gained that shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he was happy as fuck, but he saw like shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wish he was here to speak for himself.
Yeah.
But I remember when we got in the car and went home, it wasn't supposed to go in his hand.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And he still hit the shot. And somehow, some way, he ended up going to the Explorers after that.
I was mad as hell.
No shit.
I was mad as hell he left because, well, one, we was all cool. Like, because, you know, it was like him and Lil Keith were like brothers at that time.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, they was always... And you was there for every tournament. Yeah. Big Keith was always there for every tournament. Rest in peace, Keith, older brother. He was there for every tournament.
Yeah.
So I remember.
Hold on, wait. Rest in peace, Keith, older. Keith Dominique.
Yeah, Dominique.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Rest in peace, Dominique.
Yes, you know what I'm saying. So they was there for just about every tournament.
Yeah.
So and my parents was there for just about every tournament.
And you know what? I was thinking about Eddie. Eddie's mom was there.
Yeah.
A lot too. I remember Eddie's mom there. She was very supportive parent also.
People were showing up.
Yeah, the parents was there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
People were showing, and Coach Mack he had a son on the team.
Sure did.
And he used to and Coach Mack used to carpool a lot of the kids from out west.
Coach Mack. R.I.P. Coach Mack.
Coach Mack is one of the coaches that he coached Anthony Davis for Chicago Select. So if y'all do y'all research, he coached Anthony Davis, Wayne Blackshear.
Sure did. Wayne Blackshear sure did.
I don't think he coached Jabari Parker. I don't think he coached him at that time. But like he was a part of that Chicago basketball family too. Okay. I'm gonna say something too though that might tweak you out about Chicago Select. Pharaoh.
Yep.
Pharaoh. Yeah. Pharaoh with the braids. Pharaoh, back in them times when he was hooping, his ass was like Lil D Rose.
Straight up.
He was like, he played at one tournament with us with like Chicago Select. I had got cool with him at that time.
That's not bad.
Yeah, man. It was crazy to see how everybody kind of like all wound up being cool and close with each other, all in kind of different ways and stuff like that. So
how you and Pharaoh off the court, man? Are y'all got a relationship or?
Well, so like,
cause I see y'all on the court, but I don't ever really see y'all outside, you know.
So like things about me is like I really try to prioritize where I'm gonna be at. You know what I'm saying? And so like I was away from Chicago a lot of the time because of college.
Okay.
College is for college basketball is kind of grueling because you get maybe about a month off for real throughout the whole year because you got to go to summer school. You got to practice throughout the year. You got to practice, and after the season. So, excuse me, I wasn't really around Chicago a lot, but I'm cool with everybody. I'm cool with all of them. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to you about Caddy.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Caddy and Pharaoh and all of them, and I kind of knew all of them separately, and then they all end up linking up. They self, like I know Caddy when he was at Beasley, we was competing against him at Beasley. Then I met Pharaoh that weekend where I said with Chicago Select that he had disappeared, and then I seen him at Hyde Park. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what happened to him. You know what I'm saying? And then just everybody else, like we just kind of just found our ways. But like off the court though, I ain't gonna lie, like if I'm not in the crib, I'm just somewhere where I'm supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Either it's a basketball game or it's a date with a young female. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm very intentional on how I move. You know what I'm saying? I don't like going to parties. I don't like going to house parties. You know, at that time when we was younger, that's basically the only option you had, like kickbacks, house parties, little stuff like that. But basketball just itself, like Whitney Young just took me away from so much. It took me away from so much. Basketball itself, I think after my freshman year, just about every weekend we was traveling, going places, playing on ESPN, playing against top teams in the country. You know, around that time, that's when Young, we was ranked in the country for a decent amount of my time at Whitney Young. Like we was ranked in the top 10 for a long time. So, you know, like I always got love for my people before I kind of went into Whitney Young and stuff like that. But like that life almost took me away from certain relationships too, if that makes sense. And I still got love for everybody, and they know I got love for them because I let them know. But that's kind of what happened with me and Greg too, though.
Man, I just want to really just stay there for a minute. Mm-hmm. Was that a good or bad thing? And the reason I asked that is because I kind of wanted Greg to stay in that gym like that. You know, I wanted them to stay in that era. Yeah. But he went off another way, right? So going into that gym, do you think that was a great, I know it was a great thing. So let me say that question again. What was the benefits versus, not benefits, for lack of a better word, of, Whitney Young keeping you on this path that I wanted my son to stay on? You know what I'm saying? So what was what's the benefits and the downfalls?
No, that's a great question. And I think it really falls on the person also. Ever since I was younger, I've had hoop dreams. I've made somewhat of a promise to myself that I wanted to better the life of. I want a better life for me, but my family as well. You know what I'm saying? I was telling you off camera, I got a big family. And so. And we a close family too. You know what I'm saying? We all kind of have like sometimes our little bickering back and forth, but at the end of the day, it's super love with everybody.
And shout out to your mom and dad too.
Yeah.
Mom and dad.
Yeah,
they were so supportive. Definitely.
Yeah. So like, so for me, I wanted to stay in the gym because the influences that was outside of the gym wasn't gonna get me where I wanted to go. And so I remember there was a time my freshman year in Whitney Young, we got let out of class early and we didn't have practice that day. So I used to want to rush back to Hyde Park because the Kenwood kids got out around that time, and I was still close with my Kenwood friends and stuff. And this was around the time, this was like 2011, 2012, that's when...
You're a freshman or sophomore right now.
Yeah, I'm a freshman. Okay. And so that's when, if people know the history of like Chicago drill rap and all of that stuff, 2011 is like a year where things really popped off for the rap scene, but also for like the streets.
Okay.
So I remember walking past, one of my friends was out there with his friends, and I was just finna stand there and kick it with him. Somebody walked past that they ain't like, he tell me, go home. You're not even supposed to be out here. You know what I'm saying? And everybody at Kenwood knew me as the hooper. Like I'm gonna just talk, man. Don't hold back. I'm gonna just flex just a little bit, just a slight little flex, just a slight little flex.
All right, go ahead. I was there, Paul.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I was there.
And I did.
I can vouch. I was there.
And you know, y'all was special too, cause Greg name used to be ringing throughout Kenwood too, cause you know, damn, what's his name? Tori. I forgot his name. He had a bunch of big homies there too at Kenwood that loved him and all of that. So they always just say, "Oh, but you ain't better than Greg." Okay. I'm like, okay, cool. But so so the slight little flex was at 8th grade, you know, I had some college coaches pull up to Kenwood to come see me play.
Okay.
Kenwood is still a high school at the end of the day. Yeah. At this time, they wasn't competitive about their sports for real.
Right.
So they
get it in now.
Yeah. And so they got college coaches walking through the school trying to see me. You know, they coming to the game and my homies in the school like, who they here for? Wow. You know what I'm saying? They like, who they here for on a high school team? Like, no, they here for the 8th grade.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so at that time, everybody in the school and on the east side and south side knew who I was. And if you didn't, that was because, you know, whatever. But if at that time people knew who I was, he told me, "No, you can't be out here." You know what I'm saying? Go home. I listened. I didn't want to stand there and argue with him and be like, "What you mean? I'm just as tough." I had a goal in mind. I knew what I wanted to do, and also the influences around me of Coach Ty, Slaughter, Coach
Slaughter. We walk around the gym. Shout out Dolphins. We
yeah.
You know, Slaughter got that quick tongue. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep up with him sometimes.
I swear. But so just. To go back on what you said, though, the pros and the cons of it. The pros is that it teaches you so much. It teaches you discipline. Cause it took discipline to walk away from that scene. It took being passionate about something, because in order for me to be disciplined, I had to be passionate about basketball for real, and passionate about what I wanted, where I wanted to go in life with basketball. And then also the direction of that I had of like my support system, and you know, like my dad is a very special person. My mom too, 110%. But the platform that we big up here is, you know, we big up Black fathers.
My man.
And so my dad is super influential in my thinking, because from a young age, he told me, you know, stop, think, listen, or like, no, stop, listen, think, or something like that. And he always said, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You know, and so I was always that kid where I would just sit back and watch. And so I seen my friends, because I had older friends. You know, I was always friends with older kids. I seen the direction that they took. I had cousins that were good in sports, but they took a certain direction. I didn't want that for myself. You know, and I think with Greg's situation, it's tough for him because from my point of view, I was on the outside looking in. I didn't go to Hyde Park with Greg. It was tough because from my point of view, it looked like his friend group and his best friends were kind of already in the mix a little bit, or they end up in the mix, or whatever the case may be. And Greg, me knowing Greg, he just that person like, I can't leave my brothers behind. You know, like, these my brothers, like, these my homies, like, what I look like somebody scaring me away from being my friends, being friends with them. My friends in high school were Jaleel Okafor, which is a former number 3 pick in the draft, Miles Reynolds, which is the son of Jim Reynolds. Do your research on if you want to know who Jim Reynolds is.
Big time, much respect.
You know what I'm saying? and I had a bunch of other influences, and then McKinley becomes a best friend in that time. And we're in the bubble. We're in the Whitney Young bubble. You know what I'm saying? And so we were able to converse and communicate with so many different backgrounds, so many different people. Yeah. We going out of town. Yeah. We seeing that the world is bigger than Chicago. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think Greg, in his situation, he knew he was raw in basketball. But I just remember at that time, shit felt so far-fetched to feel like he was finna make it to the NBA. Like, especially kind of the situations that we come from.
Keep going, bro.
Yeah, kind of the situations that we come from. Hey, y'all, if y'all tuning in, this might be like a 2-hour.
Yeah, bro. Because I was thinking that too. I was wondering, was it getting... I got so much to say. All right, but going back to the flexing.
Yeah.
Let me just flex. for a second. I remember we was watching y'all play. And of course, I done seen you prior, right? But when y'all really start shining, I say y'all junior, senior year, not that y'all wasn't shining before.
No, for sure.
But I remember Jaleel was like number one.
Yeah, right? In the country.
Yeah. And then you was like number 2, then Miles was like number 3 on that team. And then that kind of right?
Yeah.
So I remember my brothers. I don't know if it's just one of them. They twins. They hoopers too. They both coaches. Marcus and Maurice, shout out. They said, Paul better than Jaleel. I'm like, man, get out of here. They're like, no. Because Paul can shoot. And that is my flex to you, because Jaleel is a beast.
Thank you.
He was motherfucking number 3, right? You said number 3 pick? What was number 2 pick, right?
The number 3 pick to the Sixers.
So for somebody to say that, and my brothers know basketball, and I started looking at it differently. I'm like, damn, because I already knew you was good, but I was like, not better than Jaleel, though. And my brothers was like, watch. And I just got to watch, and I said, damn, okay, I saw some shit. That's no disrespect to you, Jaleel, because we know you the man, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to flex like people saw that talent in you, but we'd be like, Paul to get hurt. So let me ask you that. So how did that shit feel like, as far as when the injuries, was that shit like discouraging? Did it ever make you think like, man, what am I doing? Or did you always have the mind power to overcome?
So,
because when did you first start getting hurt?
I started getting hurt probably like my first one that really set me down probably was like freshman year when we was playing AAU with Greg on Ferrari. I had an injury, like a core kind of injury. Probably I was just growing so fast. I wasn't exercising the right places, so I used to have a lot of back spasms. And so I had to sit down for like 3 months. Yeah. And at that time when I sat down, I was like 6th in the country, 7th in the country on ESPN.
Bro. Oh my God. What is that life like, man? What is that? Oh my God. What is that life like, bro?
It's crazy.
Goodness.
It's crazy because I'm gonna explain something to you. And this is what I want people that's also listening. You gotta believe in yourself.
Yes, sir.
You gotta believe in yourself, because everything around you is kind of set up in a way to just keep the machine rolling, and it doesn't really care about you specifically sometimes. So you yourself have to be your own fan as well as your own critic, but you have to be your biggest fan too. So when I was with Chicago Select, I was discouraged. I thought I wasn't finna go nowhere, because this was after you left, but we went to nationals in Memphis. We was stinking the place up. We was shitty. And I seen a kid down there that was playing for Mean Streets that I knew that I played against, and I knew I was kind of better than. And so I asked him, I'm like, how you get on Mean Streets? Because Mean Streets was Nike sponsored at the time, and that's a big deal in the AAU community. You know what I'm saying? If you get on a shoe company kind of team, yeah. So I'm like, how you get on there? He like, man, I just had a tryout, you know what I'm saying, and they like me. He like, take my number down, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bet. So I'm texting him. I'm like, bro, like, put me on with Mean Streets. He like, all right, bet. I talked to the coach. They said they want you to pull up to this one tournament. So all the time I was playing with Chicago Select, after Coach Mack, it was his coach named Coach Vern. He a referee now still. Excuse me.
Hey, real quick, Vern. I'll be going back to the Bulls. Do you know? Is that Vern that be taking the scores and stuff? That's the same Vern. Yeah. I'm like, man, that's Vern sitting over there, man. That every game in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like, yes, sir. I remember
my dad peeped that out too.
Yeah.
So they was playing me as like a big man. I was a skinny, frail big man, and at that time I had to go against people like Jaleel. This is 7th grade, and Jaleel might have been like 6'7", 230, 240.
I never saw y'all two play against one another. I always saw y'all as teammates. I don't even know a story about you and Jaleel playing against.
So like that's to give you an example of the people I was playing against. I played against them before I got to Whitney Young, and I low-key. He probably don't remember this. I kind of got the best of him.
Hey, did you?
We was at this Purdue camp, and I kind of got the best of him. But so I just want to say, like, the story of me believing in myself. Mm-hmm. Chicago Select was putting me in this box of saying you a big man, you a soft big man at that, because my game isn't playing the big man. I've always played up with older kids, and I always dribbled the ball because I wasn't always as tall as I was. High schoolers were taller than me when I was in 4th and 5th grade, so I had to be the point guard or the shooting guard. So that was the game that I had growing up. Mean Streets, I played with Mean Streets after I leave Chicago Select. They like, where the hell have you been? You could be the #1 player in the country. So I went from being discouraged, motherfuckers telling me I wasn't shit, you know, and like kind of just saying, you so soft, why don't you finish this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Mean Streets finally played me in the position that I wanted to play in, and they was like, where the fuck have you been?
Wow.
You could be the #1 player in the country, and then from there, I just never looked back.
Wow, so Mean Streets put you on like
they
that.
They put the battery in my back.
Yes, sir. Was Ty Streets a part of them at that point?
He was so he the founder, but okay. But at that time for my age group, it was kind of more like Indiana based. So like they had like they practices out of Maryville. I barely would go out there, but I play tournaments with them, and like it was family. That's how I met Tyler Eulis. You know Tyler Eulis?
Yeah, big up, Marian Catholic, right?
Yeah.
Went to Kentucky, right? Yes, sir. Tyler Cole, point guard.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying. So like. That life for me, shit was crazy.
Okay. So believe in yourself. So the good is that it kept you with your passion, with what you love, but it also taught you to be strong and believe in yourself.
So the bad is I say the bad.
Can it get discouraging?
Yeah, like the bad about it is. You got people outside of your bubble that may not understand the sacrifices that you gotta make. So you might have to cut some friends off, or you might have to distance yourself from some people.
That's hard for a lot of people.
That's hard.
For a young person.
That's hard. You know what I'm saying? And for me, what I would do is that I would include myself somehow just so people understand, like, I'm not acting bougie or Hollywood towards you. Just understand I got something I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? And I've never like popped my collar on the dude and was like, get away from me. Like I never did no stupid stuff like that. Like I got love for everybody. So even if I haven't seen you in like 5 to 10 years and we had a bond back in those days, like I got nothing bad to say about you. You can approach me. You can be, Paul, what up, dude? Because I never been that a-hole that's like, get out of my face.
And you haven't. Because I remember when we used to travel the country in Ferrari, and we were close. Me, you, John Miles, and the parents, y'all would be sleeping. We'll be outside, doing what we doing. And, so now you at Georgetown, and I FaceTime you, and you pick up the phone like, whatever, like, you just saw me yesterday, But to me, like, Paul is up there now. You know what I'm saying? But you still treated me just like we was in that hotel room.
I swear,
and I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? And
just like how you called me this time, like, man, Pop, shoot, I come holler at you on the podcast. I'm like, man, it's just like you, that still 14-year-old young male. You know what I'm saying?
People don't understand. People just don't like. People don't know me. People that don't know me, it's easy to judge me on the outside, but people that do know me, like, my background kind of like speaks for itself. So like, I was on that other side of the fence of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Like, I just don't know where I'm gonna go in life. Like, the influences around me, like, I got my dad keeping me out of shit, but like, I see friends going certain ways. Damn. I see cousins going certain ways. Damn. Like, where do I go? And basketball was the one outlet. And so that allowed me to be confident. That allowed me to be powerful in who I was as a person. So like, it didn't make me feel insecure to like tell my homies like, bro, excuse me, I can't go with you to this place over here. Or like, you know what I'm doing. Don't even ask me. Or like, shit, I can't even go this weekend. I'm finna go out of town and go play this game, go play that game. So it was a special moment in time. It's kind of a blur because things happen so fast.
Yeah.
You know, like, Coach Ty just hands you a schedule and it'll probably say like 5 ESPN games. You like, God damn, like,
man, Ty had jobs on the best buses and shit. I'm like, damn, look at this bus. I want my kid to be on that bus.
You feel me? You know what I'm saying? We going to the airport, like, we doing all types of stuff.
Jogging suits,
matching jogging suits, matching coats.
Right, bro.
We had matching luggage.
Yeah, y'all had matching luggage.
Y'all wasn't messing with us.
Yeah, man, I check you out. Hey, man, but I definitely want to say shouts out to your father for instilling that. But I also remember you said that young man that was around Kenwood that said, man, don't get away from here, man. You don't belong. So, man, shouts out to those persons, man. And with that being said, like, seeing all the people that didn't follow, how does it make you feel with the people that you have lost, that you was close to? Like, how have you been digesting seeing what's happening to your friends, both positive or negative, like just looking, sitting in your bubble, doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
What's going on inside of Paul?
So, me personally, for me, I've lost, I would say, a lot of people to gun violence. I was telling you off camera, since Greg passed in 2021, up to this day, I probably lost about 10 to 11 friends or family members, all to gun violence.
Absolutely crazy, man.
All to gun violence. And before Greg's murder, I've lost family and friends to gun violence. So, for me, the way that I process it and the way that I digest it is that when my first cousin got killed, and I was in 6th grade, this is a profound way of thinking, and I don't know how I got to this thought process. I said, this is fucked up. He got killed like this. But then my mind took a bigger approach to it and was like, but there's a baby somewhere being born. And so I was.
And you how old at this time?
I was 12.
12. Grammar school. Wow.
I was 12, and the way that my cousin got killed set me on a path of understanding things aren't always what it seems. And from the story that I got from how my cousin was murdered, he was looking to go visit, I believe, a female. The female's significant other might have been around the area at the time. I think he saw my cousin going up to the...
How was your cousin about?
He might have been like 26 at the time, 25 or something like that. Forgive me if I'm getting the age wrong.
Young.
Yeah. And so they get into it. He handling his business. My cousin handling his business. Somebody pull out a pistol, shoot him.
I am so sorry, bro.
No, and I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I'm for anything. I'm sorry for his kids, and you know what I'm saying. Unfortunately, he lost one of his sons. That one of my little cousins, I got killed the same year Lil Greg got killed.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
hold on, that's not his son that you're talking about, is it?
It's his son. He had so when he was alive, when he was 26, 27, I think he had about like 3 or 4 kids at the time. They all grew up seeing you know what I'm saying, knowing the weight of how their father's passing kind of affected family and friends and all of that stuff. So I don't know. I was in their life when they father was lost and stuff like that. And then they kind of, I can't remember what happened, but there was a separation period. I'm in high school, like I said, I was moving all over the place. It's hard for me to keep up with people sometimes, unless you come into family events and stuff like that. But, you know, he ends up getting killed the same year, 2021, his oldest son, I think. So it's been a tough time for our family.
Wow.
But so like I was saying, it's like there's a baby being born somewhere. And so it was the cycle of life, in my opinion. And it's about how you live your life, or how you're going to decide your cycle.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the way that I deal with death is I really I big up the happy moments that I've had with people. And I look at death as more of a transition. You know, I've turned into a very religious and spiritual person. I could take this hoodie off. I got tattoos that are mostly religious.
Okay.
You know, I got Jesus' face on me. I got Mary, you know, I got all kind of different things, scriptures. I had to find God during that time. I had to find a higher being, because I didn't have the answers. And my parents, my mom, she's a daughter of a well-known pastor out of Cleveland. My grandfather, he was killed before I even met him, when my mom was like 10 years old. He was a person, he used to march with Martin Luther King, all that stuff. He's white, a white pastor. So she comes from a very religious background. She's like, I remember, this is another time where I'm just feeling down, but she was just like, you gotta find God. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be your answers to a lot of different things. So I looked at death now as more like a transition period, where it's like, okay, your body is a vessel for your soul. Your soul now has a chance to be free and go touch the many other lives that just that one body couldn't.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. That's awesome. That is so awesome.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that is so good.
So I try to look at the positive things, because how I told you off camera, when my first cousin got killed, it hurt our family. You know what I'm saying? You know, the tension between aunties and uncles and cousins sometimes, you know. Because my dad is, and his family, he didn't grow up knowing his real father, but his mother, which is my grandmother, ended up marrying a man, which is my grandfather, which I call him my grandfather. I will forever call him my grandfather Robert Jernigan. My dad was kind of like that father figure when my grandfather wasn't around. So my dad tries to like keep the cousins in check. He tries to keep his sisters, like because a lot of my aunties, either like they husbands might have passed, or or their partners might have been, So my dad tried to step in and fill a void. So he's always that voice of like, let's try to keep things intact. And so at that time, it's a lot of mixed emotions at that time, the way a person gets, how they lose their life. Some people might want to retaliate. Some people might want to do this. Some people might want to do that. And so it's just so many different things. So the people don't understand the behind the scenes with family. Friends is one thing, but family, just like how I said, is so serious, because it's just, it could break a family in half.
Yeah, death caused a lot of emotions to come out.
Yeah.
A lot of emotions. And I like that you said the spirituality part.
Yeah.
You gotta, like, reach into that.
You have to.
You have to.
We all have it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care how tough you are. You have it.
Tell them, Paul.
You have it. It is a part of human nature.
Definitely. And sometimes I think it's hard to believe in something you can't physically touch or see. You know. So I'm glad that you're encouraging people that it's there.
It's there.
That you have it. You know, because nobody physically have answers to it.
No.
You just wonder just why.
Yeah.
And as you said, breaking the family apart when it came to, Greg losing his life, it brought us closer,
That's beautiful.
And I'm so happy because actually Nicole and I, we talk more now, and that's something else that's powerful. Like parents of kids, they really need to communicate more, even if you all are not on the same page. Because Nicole and I not be on the same page, with things about Greg.
Yeah.
But we still should have been talking more instead of arguing, because we have disagreements.
Yeah.
But now after Greg is like, I guess we found each other to lean on and be able to talk to because we really understood one another. So that's very important for families, mothers and fathers of kids to work it out together. Even if you're not together, even if you don't agree, still just communicate, be on the same page. Interest.
And in hindsight, and sorry to talk over you. In hindsight, things are 2020. You know what I'm saying? And so, for the people that are watching now, I just want y'all to understand, y'all kids are digesting everything that y'all are doing, whether you know it or not. And if you can be there for your kid, just like how you was there for Greg, and just like how Greg was there for his kids, you won't have to worry about what your kid is doing when they leave the house, because you know that you've at least instilled just about everything that you can of at least just making sure that you're not putting the wrong things into their mind. Now, don't get me wrong. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. He's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But just to keep it in mind of just that people digest the things, even if they don't just repeat the things that you saying or that they don't talk to you about it. They hear those things when their door is closed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Parents are planting those seeds even if you don't know it. Because the kids are watching. Yeah. They're listening. They know more than you think they know.
You feel? And they're young too, so they brain absorb whatever's in front of them.
Yeah.
You know? So that type of stuff, that's why, like I said, for me, I've gone up and I got a roller coaster of stories. But through all of those stories, I've tried to find my medium kind of balance so I don't go insane. Because with my stuff that I've probably had to deal with, most people probably would have went insane.
Yeah, because I thought about you all the time. I'm like, Paul has all this talent,
You my guy.
And then
you my guy.
Around, I see your arm in the sling, and I'm sick. I'm hurt. But then next thing I know, a couple of months later, you back out there, and I saw you overcome.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you. Thank you, for sure.
I was there.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
For sure. Hey, man. So big up. I like that you said, man. You like to live big up. I'm bigging them up. You know what I'm saying? So what's some of those big ups, man? What's some of those stories, man, that I might not know when I was upstairs sleep, you and Greg in the apartment?
I mean, I'm just be honest, you know what I'm saying? So I knew Greg when we was young, you feel me? We probably had a little gap in between high school and college and stuff like that. He was off doing his own thing. I was off doing my own thing, but we always kept in touch with the same kind of people and stuff. But the stories with Greg, they go back as far as I remember when he was still when he was still getting to know his first baby mama, Nunu.
Yeah.
And I remember we was on the AAU trip, and me and Greg, we kind of had that relationship at the time where we'll be talking about, the type of girls that we talking to and stuff like that. We kind of bragging a little bit in a way. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you ever seen her? So
just like a bro.
So we was roommates on the road one time, and he was just like, hey man, I think I'm finna, you know.
Why you sound like Greg, bro? Why you sound like a man? Hey, man.
Because I just remember the time, I swear I do. He was just like, hey, man, like, I just might just have to hang it up, you know, like, at that time on Facebook, you could, like.
Hold on, he told you might have to hang up what, hooping, bro?
No. The girls.
Oh, the girls. Hang up the girls. Oh, okay.
The girls.
Okay, hang up the girls.
You know,
he with Nunu now.
Hey, because Greg was a ladies' man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And all respect to, you know, the Greg and, you know, his family and the things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a man that took care of his kids and took care of the people that he loved. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But Greg still was that smooth, suave dude. Right. You know, where, like, if you ain't know how to get women, just sit back and watch dude. Sit back and watch dude. You know what I'm saying?
And he did it so smooth to be like, I barely saw him move, and I'm like, how you doing? Like, I come down here and it's like, where she come from?
His ass to just be brushing herself like,
I swear to God, just like that. Just like that. Yeah.
She like the swag. Like, it just say some stupid shit. Like, boy, you know what I'm saying? But so I just remember like him talking about Nunu, about like how special she was and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, because I had a girl at the time, so I'm like, man, you should do that, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could be downtown, you know what I'm saying? They could all be best friends. Yeah. You know, I just remember them days. I remember them days where we used to be running around downtown. Like I said, it used to be like the 60, 70 kids used to be running out of the Portillo's into the McDonald's, all the way to the Apple Store, all the way, all around the certain, you know, just all around the place. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And when, I think things changed when we just stopped going downtown. Like, people just started kicking it in their hoods. Right. You know?
And I remember we used to kick it in our hoods. We didn't go downtown. Right. And when I saw y'all generation going downtown, I thought that was so live. We didn't go downtown, man. We didn't do that. We just stayed in the neighborhood where it was like the Evergreen Plaza over here. We'll go to some mall. Yeah. But to go downtown, we ain't really do that. Get on the L now.
That's what the girls was. You know what I'm saying? Like that's and at the time, you know, like when you young, like that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to play basketball. We wanted to have like girlfriends and stuff like that. And just get fly. Okay. You know, get flea. And that's another thing about Greg. Like, Greg had all the... That's why I couldn't really hang with them just as much. Him and Marcus, they always had the new clothes, like the new polos, the new
they did.
Armani exchanges. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, his mom and you and all of them kept him at all the decent stuff. True Religion stuff, shit like that. Like, damn.
Hey, bro, I remember one day we was walking out of Whitney Young gym. I don't know where we was going. We was outside the door that's further east in the gym. Mm-hmm. And I remember Coach Slaughter telling Greg, all y'all had on jogging suits. And Greg had on whatever his fly gear was. And I remember Slaughter like, boy, why you don't dress like a hooper or something? And I'm looking like, damn, Greg, you not dressing like a hooper. Why you looking? All y'all got on, but he was like from head to toe. And all y'all had on y'all jogging suits.
I swear, God.
Yeah, that was probably like, I think, so when was Ferrari? 8th grade? 9th grade? 8th grade. Yep, so this was about 8th grade. That was about 8th grade.
So Greg played with us like for like 2 years or like a year and a half. He came like towards the end of 8th grade and he played nationals with us when Jaleel was on the team.
Sure did.
We was all in that house. Oh, that's another story too. Like Greg used to be a goofy, like a fun goofy though. Like I ain't saying like a goofy. He was just like a funny goofy type dude. Him and Marcus. And you remember Cyrus?
Big Cyrus. I remember Big Cyrus. Yes, Cyrus. Shout out Big Cyrus.
Yeah. So they was all in the crib. They was all in the crib pranking people the whole time, splashing people with water, doing all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And so like we all just became like one big family at that time. We was down there I think for like a week and a half. We went all the way to the national championship and lost.
Yep. You know what I'm saying? I think McKinley and I we talked about that too.
Yeah.
Because I did not know the team y'all lost to Winslow was on that team.
Justice Winslow.
I didn't put it together back then. You know, but he was telling me like, Justice Winslow was on that.
It's funny as hell because actually, me and Greg, I know Greg probably wouldn't have remembered it, and you probably wouldn't remember it either. I remember it so much because we got our ass spanked so bad we lost to that team when we was with Chicago Select. They for some reason came up. The Houston team, Houston Select. That's when I found out that teams get sponsored by shoe companies because they were sponsored by Adidas. They came up to like an Indiana tournament when we were Chicago Select and smacked us by like 60.
Oh, wow.
They had a couple. They had Justice Winslow on there, Kelly Oubre, which is in the NBA too.
Straight up, they was on the same team.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They had a couple other people.
Okay. Yeah.
And so. Yeah, man. Like me and Greg done play against a bunch of NBA players.
Yeah.
Was holding his own, if not giving their ass hell.
My man.
You know,
I was there. Yeah, definitely, bro. Yes, sir. All right, man. Was anything else you want to say before you wrap it up, man? I'm glad you came down here to kick it with me, man.
Well, we got to talk about January 28th.
Oh man. Yes, sir.
We've been having such a good time. Hey, we gotta go there, but
okay, yeah. Talk to me, man. How did you get that call, bro? Man.
So so McKinley. So this is a, you know, how I say sometimes I feel like my life is kind of a storybook. It's because it's very weird how some things happen. So probably like 3 weeks before Greg ends up getting murdered, I'm texting Greg. I'm telling, you know, I end up coming over here a couple times. And so like that's when me and him start like getting face to face more. Because like I said, at that time I was away a whole lot. I wasn't really going to the same places that he was going. I wasn't knowing what places he was comfortable in and what places I was comfortable in. You know, like that's the dynamic you gotta think of. You know what I'm saying? When you playing, you know, when you understand who you kind of around or whatever. So I start coming over here just a little bit more during that time, within that little 3 week window. So I end up flying to Salt Lake City because at that time, remember it's the pandemic. I was a part of the NBA G League, and so the G League is the developmental league for the NBA. You know what I'm saying? That's like the one little tier down or whatever. So they were trying to figure out how to get a season off in the pandemic. So they created a bubble down in Orlando. Excuse me. So the teams that are participating in the bubble, they go to the city of where the G League team is, quarantine there, and then fly to Orlando to quarantine some more. And then that's when the season was going to be like a month and a half of like 17, 18 games. All right. So this is like high quality basketball about to happen. So
I'm sorry. I know this don't have nothing to do with January 28th, but all right. So explain to me how that's working again. So in the G League, y'all played in Orlando. It was like a big tournament in Orlando.
So you remember how the NBA had that bubble?
Yeah.
So it was the same thing.
The same thing. Okay, got it. Okay.
It just wasn't it wasn't dragged out as long.
Okay.
So it was very compressed, very stressful. As I'm quarantining in Salt Lake City, Greg calls me on FaceTime. This is probably like January 25th, 26th. He called me on FaceTime. He put our day on the phone.
Yep.
Our day was over here.
Yep, our day was over here. Sure was. Yep.
To me, that shit was so powerful because at the time they wasn't really getting along.
Yep. And I'm like, what you sitting up and doing with our day? We had our day chopped that up. You are telling the truth.
For sure.
Exactly.
Greg called because he like, yo, what you want? He had texted me like, yo, what you want? I'm like, shit, I'm out in Salt Lake. You know what I'm saying? What's the word? He called me. He showed me. I'm like, what's the word? What you want? He put the phone to our day on. Damn!
That's exactly what I did when I walked in the crib.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
I was happy as hell, too.
Yeah, that's how I was, too.
Because they was close as hell.
Yeah, that's how we all was. Because I'm still super close to our day, but like, I got close to our day through Keith and Greg.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I'm looking, I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I love to see. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of shit I've been telling y'all to do all this time.
Yeah.
Like, y'all don't need to be into it.
Yes.
Whatever the fuck y'all into it over, bro, whatever. Like, smack each other around and get on with it.
Yeah.
So, they end up, you know, at the end of the phone conversation, you know what I'm saying? We like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, stay up, you know what I'm saying? I love you, woo-woo. Then we fly to Orlando
Hey, Paul, real quick, that was one of the things, man, that I was seeing, watching Greg mature. And I was getting so excited, watching him just mature, and I'm watching him about to go to that next level, man. I was like, oh shit.
I swear to God.
In the candy, so I'm like, damn.
I swear to God.
He relaxing, Because
life just started to get more simple for him.
Yeah.
He understood what made sense in the world and what didn't make sense. He been through too much shit to understand, nigga went to prison, but he done seen the good and the bad of the shit. So he locked in.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? He amending things like that, because I'm pretty sure Ade big head ass ain't do that.
Right. Exactly. He hard headed in the motherfucker. Ade.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then I'm on the plane. Mm-hmm. It's the weirdest thing though. I'm on the plane at that time. My uncle had passed because of COVID/cancer. He had passed probably in like December, November. I had a great aunt pass in like December. So I'm sitting on
Is December 2020?
December 2020.
Okay.
So I'm sitting on the plane on our way to Orlando. This like January 26th. I'm on my way to Orlando to quarantine in the bubble. I'm sitting on the plane thinking like, I remember the last time death come in threes for me. My uncle just passed. My great aunt just passed. Who's going to be the next to pass?
I always think that death come in threes.
That shit was creepy. That shit was scary. So then the days, January 28th hit, we in the room quarantining. Everybody's quarantining in their own room. McKinley called me. It was like, they shot Greg. I'm like, huh? He like, oh, they killed Greg. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm asking, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where did it happen? How did it happen? I'm just holding my head and shit.
You on the plane, you said?
No. So, okay. So, we land. Fast forward, we land on like January 26th. So we quarantining at this period of time. So I'm in my room by myself, not talking to nobody. I can't talk to nobody. I can't reach out to nobody. I can't tell nobody shit, for real. McKinley called me, and because I think we were supposed to quarantine for like 4 days, 5 days or whatever. He called me on the 28th when it happened, like they killed Greg. I'm just like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of just like processing it, because to me, that shit just didn't make sense. Greg, too cool, too smooth. I remember at that time he telling me about how he finna go do it for his B-Day. He didn't tell everybody about the motherfucking fit.
Sure did.
I forgot how much that shit cost. That shit was like a rent note. He wanted everybody to know.
I don't think he paid rent that money. He give me shit that money.
Hey, cause I swear to God, that's what he was saying. He was saying he was locking in 90 days straight. He wanted to hustle because he wanted to do it for his B-Day. So I'm just like, what the fuck? Hell no, like. So I go on Instagram, I see everybody kind of posting the shit that they in their feelings about, they in their feelings about it. So I end up calling Ade. Ade didn't say this in his interview. I called Ade, and he was like, I'm like, fuck, you just heard what just happened? He's like, what? He's like, what? I just woke up. Cause he told me, just woke up and shit. I'm like, bro, check your phone, bro. They just killed Greg. He like, no. We both on that bitch just tweaking. But for me personally, that shit was so crazy because I'm down here in this bubble amongst potential NBA players. These are NBA players that I'm going up against, because these is people that just got drafted. These is people that are like kind of like still on contract with NBA teams. I'm planning to go up against NBA competition, and this is my job at this point. I get a call that Greg gets killed. I'm in quarantine. I can't do shit. I'm just sitting there just thinking. TV not working. I don't give a fuck about no TV. I don't give a fuck about really anybody else contacting me. I go off on this girl. How you not gonna be there for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel, I just felt just like, what the fuck? I'm just locked in this room and I know I can't leave. I call my coaches. I'm like, I gotta go home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta go, at least go to the funeral. You know what I'm saying? They finna have a funeral. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. They're like, Paul, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry for your loss. It's gonna be tough to get you back down here if you leave out, but we fully support you. You know what I'm saying? Due to the situation of the pandemic, we just don't know if you come back, how long you got to quarantine, and blah, 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 blah. So I talked to my parents. I had to make a business decision. And it hurt me so bad because people just don't know how close I was with Greg or how long I've known Greg. And I'm actually relieved that you speak on him going the opposite way of basketball because I was so mad at Greg.
Well, you bro, I was too, man.
I was
hurt too.
I was so mad at Greg, but I hate to say it, but like, and Marco, Loso, I love you, Marcus. You know I love you, but when Marcus transferred from Mount Carmel to Hyde Park, I just knew it wasn't finna be that storybook ending the way that it should be.
Yeah.
Cause Greg and Marcus, you know what I'm saying? And so wherever one went, I ain't gonna say wherever one went, the other went, but like they was just so glued to one another, and I knew the energy that they both had. And I knew what was going on in Hyde Park at that time. I'm just like, damn. I want the both of their ass.
Yeah, because they both was good.
They was both cold.
Man, when those two were starting backcourt, I was like, oh man, I felt we had a chance against anybody.
For sure. And they were so cold, but at that time, the shit that was getting the girls was the rapping. It was being around the rappers. It was the streets. It was just something that everybody was just kind of just like, almost kind of like just fantasizing about almost. And I'm not saying Greg got caught up in that because I don't know his situation. But I just knew when he chose something other than basketball, I'm like, why the fuck is you doing this? I couldn't say it to him because he his own man. You know how Greg get too, like, get the fuck away, And so it's just like,
I tried so hard, I lost contact with him for a while, He's like, I'm trying to do this, And I just had to kind of bend just to get back, because I ain't want to lose my son altogether. Like, all right, man, and shit, So we found our way back together, but man, that shit, I don't know, man. It hurt. It hurt. Because it was a lot, even just coming from a parent's point of view, when you taking your kid to these tournaments every day since they 5, 6, 7, 8, that's a lot of energy. Right. And just one day it's like, I don't want to do that, and then you can't make a child do something that they don't want to do, That's the worst thing to do.
For sure.
But I just thought it was his passion. I thought he liked it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And sometimes I be wondering, and again, like I said, I wish he was here to speak for himself. I was wondering, like, is the competition, is it not as easy for him? So now, he see his buddies are doing this and they having all this fun over here doing this. So I'm like, damn, let me just go on over here because it's easier. I ain't got to work as hard. Yeah. It's popping, it's fun, and it's a lot of money over here. So it's like, it was hard for me to compete against. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That shit is something that, like, I just want people to understand, like, even if you don't see the result tomorrow, if you just keep working at what you're doing, the result will show. Yeah. And I hate that my boy felt like he had to take this other route to get whatever he wanted out of life. Because in reality, his ass could have been making a lot of money doing something else. Yeah. But what ends up happening is you got to also understand that sometimes the environment is bigger than the person itself. And so that's when these talks come into play of how we got to change the environments of these kids. Yeah. Because we need to start giving kids outlets of what I had to, when I get angry, when I get mad, when I get sad, I pick up a basketball. I don't pick up a gun. That don't make me a less of a man. You know what I'm saying? Because in my opinion, people that handle their business, you got to handle your business cool. But I know for a fact who I am as a person. And every single kid, and the reason why I know who I am as a person is because I spent that time with father figures like yourself and others, but I also spent time with myself of self-reflecting of who the fuck I am as a person. And you have to do that constantly if you really want to be somebody special in this world. Because you holding a gun don't make you special, bro. Because you did whatever the fuck you did for your hood, the world is bigger than your hood. Trust me.
Yeah, speak, Paul. Damn.
And girls will always be there. So don't let that be your motivation to whatever you're doing. And I guarantee you, the nerds that are in your high school class that you are clowning, in the 5 years, in the next 5 years, they gonna end up fucking the same women that you wish that you had. Yeah. I guarantee you, and you gonna be stuck in the same position, feeling like that you gotta sell drugs, you gotta do this, that, and the third to make yourself feel important. You could definitely make yourself feel important in so many other ways. We are living in a different time where you can pull out your phone and Google, how can I make $1 million? Figure that shit out. You know what I'm saying? We in a situation now where I just want people to just want better for themselves.
Me too, man. Man, I think you spoke to a lot of people's hearts. I saw you looking right into that camera, and I know you felt you touched some people.
For real,
I'm so happy you said that.
I appreciate
that.
You
put it in the words that I couldn't have put it in if I tried 1,000 times. I felt like it just came from your heart.
Yeah,
that can't be repeated, man. And man, thank you for sharing that thought, because those are thoughts that all our kids need. Because we want our kids to be better than us.
Yes.
Those 10 and 11-year-olds that's hooping right now, you want them to be 10 times better than you. You know, that's what we want for them, you know. But the environment, it offers so many quick outlets that kids want to take so quick because it feels easier.
Yes.
It feels more exciting, but you have to put in the work.
Yes.
You know?
You have to, people.
You got to.
You have to. Well, whatever you want to do. So, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about things. You know?
Yeah. Thank you for that, bro. Thank you for that. I don't even know where to go after that.
Hey, man, this family. That's all I said.
You just shut it down. I don't know. If you just want to go on and flow, man, I don't know where to go. Man, bro. Man, that was awesome, man. I'm glad you came and rolled down with me, man. Definitely, man. For sure. Anything else, man? It's on you, bro. We can cut, we can edit. I don't know. It's on you, bro.
Man, I just want to big up. I just want to big up this platform for real. I want to big you up. This is tremendous what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You are a father that's keeping his son alive in so many different ways. You know, his kids are gonna be able to look back at this and see the stories of their father that they never knew.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And that type of shit is very special and important. And you know what I'm saying, for the fathers out there, because my father done been through a lot of different, I done been through stuff with my father. So, you know, I'm speaking from a place of experience. Don't think I'm speaking from a place of some shit that I seen on TV. Like, this is real life for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was able to persevere and I made it out the storm. Granted, I'm 6'9" and, you know, and I can play basketball, but it still takes a certain mental toughness to hear critics. I used to hear critics all the time when I was younger. He can't do this. He's not skilled enough. He whines too much. I silenced those critics out because I knew I can't fight all of them. You can't fight everybody that doesn't like you. Just move on and become a better person than you were the day before. That's all I could really say.
Hey, man, so to me that comes like, how does a child, if you can answer this question, build that security up in themselves? Because I think a lot of us are very, very insecure. So we do a lot of things to hide that insecurity instead of just facing it and building on top of it to become secure. I feel like we just lash out, try to talk about other people because we really insecure. We disappointed in ourselves, so we go and hurt somebody else because we really insecure.
Yeah.
I be feeling that, dude. Is that kind of
shit,
bro? I don't know. That's my feeling.
I ain't gonna lie, because I get in those moments too, and you know, I said this before to somebody. I think it's about changing our tendencies as people, and I've heard Nipsey Hussle said it before of how people need to change how they react to certain things, and I think it's as simple as like a tendency of what I mean is like, if I ask you how you doing today and you just say good all the time, even if you not doing good, it's still a tendency of you just saying I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And so the tendency that we need to have is when people disrespect you, there are more powerful ways to go about it than rather than just insulting them right then and there, or wanting to take their girl, or wanting to take their life. There are so many other different ways to prove people wrong. You know, and like I said, you gotta be your biggest fan. You know what I'm saying? You gotta if you don't have anybody in the house to look up to, go to the internet. Look at powerful figures like Kobe Bryant. Mm-hmm. Look at powerful figures like Jay-Z.
I had a guy said Deion Sanders was one of his idols on one.
Deion Sanders.
I was like, man, that was powerful. Yeah.
Deion Sanders got a crazy story.
Yeah.
His story came from the projects in Florida. His father, I believe, was a dope dealer / dope user. All type of stuff. And the man was an incredible athlete. Yeah. And so I think as a kid, also another thing I think also that I've learned when I was younger is we need to stop putting so much emphasis on what some of these little girls are going around saying about how you hold yourself as a boy and stuff like that. Because I think when I was in the phase of little boydom, you know what I'm saying, girls just kind of just go with some of the things that are just hot at the time, you know. And I remember when I was in high school, people wanted to be around the rappers, and the rappers was connected to the streets. So the girls is around the streets, the rappers, they getting the thrill out of it. But those same girls that are kicking it with y'all and getting the thrill out of things, they can elevate, they can escalate, they can go to college and not have to worry about that. And then they can end up dating the people with the 501ks and stuff. But you are taking chances of being in the street, and now you are stuck in the street.
Yep. Because once you get that, what you call it, when you get the other word I'm looking for. When you get caught with something, you got to rap. You know you can't get a job.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Your ass a felon.
Yeah, you're a felon. Yeah, once you get a felon, now you stuck, and now you got to do this.
Your ass is a felon.
35 years old, you still trying to do the same shit.
Your ass scared. Your ass is scared to go get a job at a regular place like Walmart because you scared that people might recognize you from hanging out in the streets 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And meanwhile, like I said, the nerd that you were picking on 10 years ago is now probably on the Walmart that you scared to work in. And guess what? He's having relations with the same women that you were trying to impress when you were in high school.
Yep.
That type of shit hurts a grown man.
Yeah.
That type of shit hurts a grown man. Yeah. But as grown men, we have to understand being a grown man is not easy. It's never been easy. If you take it back to prehistoric times, we had to be the ones to go out and kill the animal, find the animal, bring the animal back.
Yeah.
That shit is in our DNA. Yeah. That shit is who we are.
It is. And being a teenager, it's not easy.
It's not easy.
You know, just moving through here is not easy. So you got to find it within yourself.
Yeah, just understand like there's going to be a better day. Yeah. Just keep being a good person.
Wake up every morning.
Yeah, keep finding something that you could be passionate about and keep getting better at that passion. I guarantee you could pick up a camera, start being a videographer around your school. You know what I'm saying? Start capturing moments around your school. You can maybe sell that footage to your school. You know what I'm saying? And you could end up creating a big story. You never know. You might have a star in your school, and you are the only one capturing that moment.
Dude, I went to a school with this guy named Clarence. He go by the name of Cootie. He used to always be in the radio TV room. Next thing we know, he running around following Kanye West. He done made big movies about Ben Wilson.
Come on, man.
Made a movie about Kanye West, man. And all he did was have that camera.
And that's the movie that's on Netflix that he's talking about. Yeah. That's the one he's talking about. Yes, sir. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't start in everybody, and I know it's the easiest thing to do because your homies. Everybody thinks that like the streets is just such of a like prolific or like hard thing to get into.
Easy.
It's easy as hell. It's really just standing outside with your friends.
Yeah.
It's really
very dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
You know, but it's easy to get into.
It's easy to get into.
Yeah, you know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a very hard walk of life, very scary walk of life, exciting, but you know,
exactly. It's the you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That's how I feel.
Man, bro. If we just saved one father, one mother from going through what I'm going through, man, I'm glad you came and sat down and talked to me, man. We just, we just don't. We want this to stop.
Yeah.
Because we are powerful people, and once we come together, man, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yeah. Mr. Paul White.
My man.
Thank you, bro.
You know it.
Man, one love to you.
You know it.
Daddy's Podcast. Peace.